see me eating a burger and fries and be like, she's a hypocrite, right? So y'all, there were all these things going through my head. And when I first started, it was kind of like Angela said the other day, do it scared, right? The only way you'll fail is if you quit. You will never get on any of our team's nerves because we are a family and we are always here for each other. And like Megan said the other day, we love each other and we pray for each other. So like, you're not going to get on anybody's nerves, because I was fearful of that too. Like that was the devil in my head being like, you're going to drive people nuts because you have 5 million questions. You know, I'm a kindergarten teacher. We ask all the questions. It's just what we do, right? And then there's constantly a group chat going. So like if you do have questions, you can go into that group chat anytime. And then there's the FAQ that you can always turn to. So like, bye devil, see you later. That's not one of my fears anymore, right? And then another one is like, what if people make fun of me, right? I did have somebody make fun of me. He's like, he got on my Facebook or Instagram, or I don't even know what it was at this point. He was like, oh, why are you trying to be so motivational? Buddy, you need what I have for you right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like the people that are making fun of you and saying some of these things to you, they want what you have. Like that's what it is. They want what you have and they need what you have to offer, right? And so don't let them steal that from you. And then last, like, you are not a hypocrite. That's one of my biggest things. Like, I struggled with like, oh, I've got to be perfect. I've got to eat the containers every day. Like I have to be perfect, right? Like if I'm going to help other women, like I've got to have it under control. Y'all know I enjoy my burger and fries sometimes. Last night I had like a piece of some ice cream. Like, come on, we're human, right? And so like having the thought like, oh, I'm a hypocrite if I have this. We're not. And that's what we tell our women too. Like when they text us and be like, oh my gosh, I had this like flamingo row. Like that stuck in my head. I had a customer tell me they had flamingo row. I'm like, girl, it's okay. It's okay. Tomorrow will be better, you know? And so I've had my own personal battle with food. And so it's taken me a long time not to let all that define me. So I don't want it to define other women. You know what I mean? And then finally, like there's not one single coach on here that's already at their end goal. There's nobody at their finish line. We are all in this together. I've like anytime I say that, I like think of the High School Musical. You know what I mean? so like we're all right. But anywho, keep pushing on. Like, don't be fearful. Don't let the devil inside of you be like, you can't do this, because nobody is perfect, y'all. There was one perfect person, and it is not me. So that's where we are.
I love that. Love. Angela, we're going to let you go next because it just makes sense with what y'all are both talking about.
Hey guys, I'm Angela. So I'm going to talk about the 4 vital behaviors. So if you have started your new coach training, you may have already learned about this, but if not, I'm gonna give you the drill down. So when you start this business, it can feel like really overwhelming if you let it, but it is very, very simple. So anytime I start to feel like a little bit consumed or like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Just go back to the 4 vital behaviors. So the first one is be proof that the products work. Kind of like Lana was saying, like, you can't just get Shakeology one time. I mean, if you're consistent with it and be like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to get that anymore. So these products have changed our life. They are what get us our results. So you have to be consistent with them and also your products or your programs. So I tell people, you can't try to represent every single product. Like, you know about them, you need to be educated about them, but like have your ones that you use and you believe in and just like recommend the crap out of that. So for example, I'm like, just like Lana, Shakeology, Energize, Recover, Bing Bang Boom. Those are my best friends, my 3 amigos. So I tell people, like, this is what I'm using to get my results. Because when they slide up in your DMs or when they ask you about it, like, they want to know what's getting you your results. They don't want you to be very, like, timid, like, oh, well, let's just get the cheapest option. Like, No, they want to follow you. That's why they're there. So be proof that the products work. Complete your programs, preach your products, end of story. Number 2, invite. So I really avoided this, this for a while. My first month, I just depended on people to come to me, which worked for a month. That's it. But then my second month, I saw, that kind of trickle off, and I still hit Success Club and did okay, but I wasn't inviting people because I was afraid that I was going to get on their nerves, or that I was going to, same girl, so awkward. I was afraid that I was going to just like be in their way. But then I listened to a podcast with our CEO, and he said, stop selling, start helping. And that is all you're here to do. You're here to help them, and you're here to invite them into what has given you life. So we will get all into how to invite later in your new coach training, but just know that like, if you do not invite, like you aren't reaching people. There are people out there that are just watching your stories, that are just watching you change, and they are afraid. They are intimidated. We are strong women. We are changing our lives. We're changing our families. And that is scary, because some people are afraid to say, hey, I want what you have. How do I get it? They just want to like hang out in the back. So if you don't go, you know what? Lana's watching my stories. I bet she wants this too. So that's why it's important to invite. Every single day, you'll get there. And just remember that before you got here, you were on the other end of that invitation. You were the person wanting change. And put yourself in that person's shoes. Like, what did it feel like before you had this? Like, what did it feel like to be inside your body that you were physically uncomfortable with, that didn't have confidence? So just remember what you needed before you had this. The third thing is recognize. So celebrate your team and every meaningful thing they do. So I'm really working on this and getting better now that I've got like this. I'm really trying to focus on it now that I've got this little team underneath me. So like, for example, today I'm going to post in my challenge group, here are all the girls that did 5 workouts this week, and give them a freaking shout out. I'm also going to be putting my new coaches just on the biggest pedestal in the world because they're amazing, and just recognizing them for their wins this week. This also can just mean recognizing the people around you for things that have like been small victories, but like my mother-in-law put away her scale, and I'm like, sister, let's recognize that. So as you grow, there's going to be things with your challengers, with your friends, with your clients, people that aren't even in your Beachbody circle, that you need to recognize growth in people's lives, because that is the encouragement they need to keep moving forward. And then number 4 has probably been my favorite, which is do personal development. I'm not like somebody to snuggle up in a big lazy chair with a book. I wish I was, but that just makes me want to pull my hair out. So if books are your thing, personal development books are over and abundant. Like they're just everywhere, but also like audiobooks. I'm a podcast girl. But doing your personal development is where you're going to grow every single day. It's going to put new content in your brain just to keep you churning, just to keep you making your invites even better, making your follow-ups even better, making your intentions better, making you as a human being better. And when I first started, I was like, I do a Bible study. So that's like personal development because Jesus, right? But then on my new coach call, Lauren goes, so this does not mean a Bible study. And I was like, well, she just took the wind out of my sails. Not that my Bible study wasn't important, but there are a lot of benefits to spending time with people that are ahead of you in the business, that have just done these things and have been successful at them already. Yeah, Lauren, you should do Bible study and personal development. Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what she meant. But the best personal development a lot of us are moms or are working women. You know, we have to find it in little 10, 20-minute chunks here and there. I subscribe to the Beachbody Coach 411 podcast, which is our national wake-up call on Monday mornings. Basically, they lead a discussion with, a lot of times it's like a very successful coach or like an awesome book author. And it's like the best hour of my week because I just feel like I can't drink out of the water hose fast enough. I cannot digest the information. I have to literally listen to it in 15-minute chunks. It's so helpful. So if you just feel like I'm ready to learn, go back on that podcast and just listen to old episodes. Like, you will learn so much about this business. You will learn so much about our products, about our trainers. It's a really, really fun way to grow as a coach and as a person. So with all that being said, you have to be consistent with these 4 things. Like, you can't just be like, oh, it's Monday, I'm ready to do my vital behaviors. And then it's Wednesday and you're like, I haven't sent on an invite since last Thursday. Like, you have to do these things every single day, and not in a legalistic approach. Like, sister, if you need to take today off of your invites and you have been consistent for the last 12 days, like, that is okay. That's okay. Do not be legalistic about this, but consistency is where you will see the fruit of your labor down the road. A really good book that just reiterates that is The Compound Effect, and that should be the first audiobook you listen to as a new coach. But your consistency also just bleeding over into social media, because that, for some reason, has just been what's really blessed the growth in my business. So just not going to get off on a tangent here, but like Lana was saying, be a real person. Show them if you eat a cheeseburger, because nobody wants a coach that eats perfect every single day, because they're not relatable. They're not somebody that I can go to and go, you know what? I'm really, really struggling with French fries. I'm obsessed with them. I'm obsessed with Oreos. And Lana, yes. But you need to be a relatable, real person and be consistent in showing that with your 4 vital behaviors. Find fun ways to document those in your socials. I love posting my workouts every day and posting just like meaningful, motivational things, or taking that back to my challenge group in the verbiage I attach to my workouts. Be silly and relatable and be fun. That could be a whole other Zoom call, so I'm not going to keep going into that. But so do your 4 vital behaviors, be consistent, and find fun ways to share that. Love y'all.
Yes. I mean, basically, we could end the call now because the 4 vitals are our business. But we're going to go on to Tara. She's just going to talk to us about becoming a leader and what that really looks like.
Okay, so this was for me the biggest game changer for my business. So I did a lot of discount coaching for a couple years. Basically, I coached just to get the discount for my own personal benefit. Then I decided that I wanted to take it a little further, that coaching could be the key that unlocks what I want for my future. So that was the route I took, and I decided I was going to start growing the business and becoming a leader. My top tip is a little less tangible than the 4 vital behaviors, but it is literally a mindset change. It is basically, when I started, I had, hold on.
Really pooped their pants.
I'll take care of that. Sorry. Okay, so when I decided that I was going to start growing this business, I had a lot of people telling me that, like, to hit Success Club or to hit rank advancements, that it would be a decision, that I just had to decide to do it, and I could do it. And I got really frustrated that because, sorry, I turned on Frozen too. I don't know what's going on right now. So I decided that I was going to do it, and they told me that that was just a decision, but I was like, well, I decided to do it. Why isn't it happening? I'm doing my vitals, but I don't understand. And then I realized it was a mindset change. I had to stop thinking about what would a leader do and actually doing what a leader would do. So yeah, what that meant is that I needed to start behaving like a leader. I needed to start posting like I had 10,000 followers. I needed to start leading my challenge group like I had 45 to 100 active people in there. I needed to start leading my team as if I had 15 working coaches ready to go with this business. I couldn't just sit back and be complacent with where I was as a leader. I wanted to be the leader that I wanted to be. So I had to behave like the leader I wanted to be. I had to visualize what that looked like for me, set those big goals, the diamond rank advancement, the 5-star diamond, the 10-star diamond. And I had to say, okay, well, how do I behave like that? I'm just going to do that now. I'm not there yet, but I'm going to pretend like I am, because that made my head get in the game. And that made my head start to behave like a leader. The metaphor that I heard that really resonated with me is if we were all in the woods and we were told to survive, the leader is not the one that had everything right there in front of them. They're the ones that goes first. So they're not the ones making the excuses saying, well, if only we had a little bit of food with us, or if only some of this brush was cleared away. No, the leader's the one that goes through and clears out the brush. They find the food. They do the things it takes to survive so that it makes it easier for people to follow them. So that's all you have to do as a leader, is cut through the brush to set that example, to think, how do I get there? How do I survive? How do I get to the goals that we have? And that's how you lead. When you lead like that, it just becomes natural for people to follow you because you have literally cleared the path. So I know that's really hard to do because it's not a checklist of things, but it is a mindset change that you have to make if you really want to become that leader.
I mean, oh my gosh. Yeah, I love Alexa's crowd chanting, Tara, Tara. All right, Carly, you're up.
Okay, I have to follow that. Not going to be that impressive. No. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about is focusing on you first, and I'm going to make it quick because I have 2 children that are like little ticking time bombs. Basically, hold on. Okay, I have a passy. We're good to go. Basically, you have to, if you're doing the 4 vital behaviors, you're going to be doing this because you have to lead from the front. So with that being said, is you cannot be an example for something that you are not. People are going to realize if you're fake. Now what Angela was saying about you have to be real though. Like you are going to eat a cheeseburger, you're going to eat pizza. That's what this is. It's a lifestyle. You don't have to be perfect, and that's what you have to do when you focus on yourself. You have to share the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that's what people will relate with. Nobody's perfect all the time, and nobody wants to think that you are perfect all the time. That's not relatable. People are not going to want to jump in with you to do that. So you've got to set goals for yourself, which Alexis I know is going to kill in a minute, so I'm not even going to go there. But you've got to set realistic goals for yourself first. And that can be about your business. That can be for yourself. But for me, when I started, I was not in a good place with Hayes. I don't even know how old he was. But when I started, I said, I'm going to do this for myself first and see the change in myself. And then I'm going to share that with others. And if you're not changing yourself, sorry, newborn. If you're not changing yourself, people are going to see that. So you started this for you. And anytime you get discouraged in your business, you need to remember why you started. It wasn't to make a big buck in the beginning. It was to change your own personal life. So, time out. Even if, always feed them. That's the trick. Always feed them. If you go back to why you started, that will keep you going. Because there will be months where you're not going to hit your business goals. There will be months where you're like, I'm reaching out, I'm inviting, I'm doing the 4 vital behaviors, and nobody wants to do this with me. Remember why you started to begin with, because even in that time, you need to be doing this for yourself. You need to be exercising for yourself, doing the nutrition for yourself, being a better wife, being a better mom, being a better girlfriend, being a better friend, a better daughter, all the things. And then people are going to relate to you and your whole journey. So not just the good, not just the bad, you need to share everything and lead from the front. And one thing that Lauren has said that once you guys start making your own challenge groups and you start adding your girls to those, if you see a downhill spiral in as far as participation and people are just not getting into it, you need to check yourself first. So that takes you have to take a little pride hit and step back and look at yourself. If people are not being involved, are you being involved as you should be? And prime example, when I was first pregnant with this one, I could not drink Shakeology. Like it just wasn't happening. And so I wasn't posting it. And I noticed none of my girls in my challenge group were drinking it either. And so when you notice a downhill spiral in your participation, check yourself first and then make sure you're helping yourself before you can help other people. So that's my spill. Oh, thank you, Angela. You can come hold a kid if you want.
He's so cute though. Okay, so I'm going to talk about goals. And one thing I need you to understand first is that you need to be in this for the long haul. It can't be something that you just achieve in like 2 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, because your business is going to go like this, because that's just life. Excuse me. But so I just want you to like take a second. If you have a pen and a paper, we're going to do a little activity. So sorry, I'm a 6th grade teacher. That's just how things work sometimes. So what I want you to do first is just like imagine yourself 1 year from now. So April 18th, 2021. Where do you see yourself? Where do you want to be? Jot down like 3 things that you want out of this business in a year from now. Maybe you want to be a certain rank. Maybe you want to be consistently making a certain income. Maybe you want to step down from your job and just work part-time. So pick 3 things, jot it down really quick. Or if you have your phone, like text it to yourself. I'll give you a few seconds. And the scarier and the bigger, the better. I'm going to give you about 10 more seconds. Okay, so look at those goals. Are any, like, I can see everybody. I have it on gallery view. Just like raise your hand if you're a little freaked out or like your heart started pounding a little bit. Because I talked to Carly a little bit yesterday about something, and we were like voice chatting back and forth. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just said that out loud. And my heart was racing and I was like short of breath. So if you're a little scared of one of those things, that's good. Now, I want you to step back from those goals and think you have 365 days to get there. Break those 3 goals down. What are 3 smaller steps you need to get to one of those goals? So maybe if you want to hit diamond, well, that means you need 2 emerald coaches and 4 active coaches, or 6, is it 6? 8 active coaches. So, okay, I need, what is that? 1 plus 4, that's 10 coaches, right? Am I saying that right, Lauren? So you need 10 coaches. Well, how do I get 10 coaches? Well, I need to start doing my vital behaviors. I need to start inviting. Okay, well, if it takes 10 no's, oh yeah, 12, thank you. So if I have 12 people that I need to get signed up as coaches. If for every yes that I get, I need 10 no's, how many people do I need to be inviting? Break that down. You have a year to get there. I'm not saying you have to do this next week or next month or next year. So essentially what we're doing is reverse engineering those goals. You take the big, big, scary goals and you break them down into small, tangible tips. So the best analogy I can give to you is when I tell my 6th graders, okay, we're going to write a 2-page research paper, like they all get like whitewashed faces and die a little inside. But if I say, okay, we're going to write a 2-page research paper, but today you get to Google whatever you want on the Chromebooks. I just want you to decide on a topic. They're like, oh, okay. So then you decide on a topic. Okay, well, what are 3 of the most important things you want me to know about this topic? Oh, well, this, and this. Okay, find as much information as you can. So you're like spoon feeding yourself these small goals to get to your big goal. And like I said, when I started, your business is going to go like this for the next year. That's just the way things go. You're going to have peaks and you're going to have valleys. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Carly. So you're going to have peaks and you're going to have valleys, and just know that the work needs to be the same. So when you're in the valley and you're like, oh crap, I really need to get my crap together, and you start working and working and working, you still need to be working hard when you are hitting Success Club 10 and 14 and 16, because it's going to translate over. So now that you have yes. Okay, so now that you have those 3 big scary goals and you've kind of broken down that first one, do that with your other goals. Make, quarterly goals, which is every 3 months. Make monthly goals, make weekly goals. So one of my weekly goals is to get 20 no's. Okay. I'm not looking to get yeses. I'm looking for nos. That way I'm kind of expecting that, like, hey, I'm not ready yet. Like, okay, great. That's fine. Check. There's a no. Somebody else is going to be out there. So yeah, break them down. We have those big, scary year goals, quarterly, monthly, weekly goals. Anyway, I hope that wasn't too overwhelming. Thanks for being great students and participating.
Sorry, I just told my son to close my door. They're in a phase where they like play with these puppies and it's really high pitched and it's quarantine. It's where we are. Yes. Okay, just a minute. Nope. Go ahead, shut the door. Okay, so to follow that, we were talking becoming a leader. We're talking focusing like on you in terms of if you have to be the one making the changes if you want the people that you're leading to make the changes, right? One thing that I guess a mindset shift that I really had to make, and this goes right with Tara's, is I remember when I first started coaching, and you guys are probably gonna like go, yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. How do you know, Lauren? Because I've been there. I remember I would get on Instagram or Facebook and I would literally creep other coaches for like hours a day. Like it was such a bad thing where I didn't even know who I was because I was so busy creeping them that I would just go to make my own post and I would be like, I guess I'll just kind of copy what she said because I don't know, and sound like her because I don't know. And what I realized, something that I just kind of had to sit back and stop and go, okay, if I do this the rest of my coaching career, it's going to be miserable. I'm not going to know who I am. I'm not going to know anything, like I don't even know who I am. So I had to sit down, and this is a lot like what Tara just had, or not Tara, but Alexis just had us do, but it's almost a little bit different. And in your new coach training, you guys, if you don't have that yet, if you never got the email with the Google Doc and you haven't opened it, go open it today. Or if you don't have it yet, let your sponsor coach know and we will send it to you. But it has a planner that I sat down and created where you can write out your vision. And your vision it does include your goals. It is a lot like goal writing, but it's a little bit different. And so I had to sit down and I had to go, okay, if I'm going to be this, this leader, if I'm going to do what Tara said to do, if I'm going to do what Alexis just said to do, if I'm going to lead anyone and have any kind of life with purpose, I need to know what my vision is. I need to know where I'm going. And this is the big thing. I had to become someone that people wanted to follow. Does that make sense? So I was thinking to myself, okay, these coaches that I'm creeping, what is it about them that makes me want to follow them? So like, let's not copy their content, but let's copy their vision and copy their purpose in the sense of I'm attracted to them for a reason. Why am I attracted to them? It's because our visions were the same. And so I had to sit down and I almost had to look at the coaches I was following. And that was part of the reason, like that's part of how I created my vision. But then I also had to step back and say, okay, Lauren, which this is the scary part that Alexis just said, like, did that just make me freak out when I said it out loud? But I had to sit back and go, what do you really want? Have you ever sat back and asked yourself that question? Not just what do you think is attainable if you work 40 hours a week, not just, what's easy, because that was what drove me for years of my life. But like, if you could really have it all, if there was no money obstacles, if there were no time obstacles, like you could literally have whatever you wanted, what does that life look like? And that is your vision. That's what you're working toward. And I'm not saying this in like I'm gonna bask in the sun and like live on a beach in Tahiti. Like that's not what I want. That would bore the heck out of me. Like, what do I really want? What is the legacy I really want to leave? And so when I open up my binder, which you guys have the access to this, section 1 is vision. All right. And I'm just going to be very transparent with you. I read this every single day. All right. So this was vision for quarter 1. I see us paying off our home equity loans. I see our team as the top 100 in our company. I see myself waking up early to conquer the day with a workout and good nutrition. I see myself changing the lives of others with health and fitness and finances. I see myself being asked to speak about my story. I see myself taking the daily actions to make these goals happen. I see my family being proud of me. I see my team moving forward in belief and momentum and excitement. I see my content on Instagram and Facebook helping people. I see my team making a bigger income and a bigger impact. I see our team as a team builder, and then my second CBC make it to diamond. So you've got some like big lofty dreams that aren't time bound, but then I've also got some that are like concrete things, like my second CBC making it to diamond. But I read that, and guys, every day that I read that, because I read it out loud because I have to like really get myself in the zone. I read that out loud, and it almost brings me to tears every single day. I want to follow that girl. You see what I'm saying? Do I think I've arrived to that girl? No, not by any stretch of the imagination, but I want to be her. That is what creating a vision is. It is writing down on a piece of paper who you see yourself being, the impact you see yourself making. And guys, the creepiest, weirdest thing is that it starts happening. Because not only am I now positioning my entire day to be this woman, Instagram posts come easy when I'm reading this, because I can read this and go, I'm going to be her. And I post because that's who I am. That's who I'm trying to be. That's who I'm working to be. Instagram posts are easier when I know what my vision is and know what my goals are. And also, if you're the praying kind, these are prayers that I pray for my life. Like, of course the Lord wants me to help women make money for their families. Of course the Lord wants my family to be proud of me. You know, so it's like you're allowed to pray these things over your life, and He will honor that. So anyways, that's your vision. If you don't do anything else today, go write out your vision and your goals, because you're not like, none of the moves that you're going to make, none of those invites that you're going to send are going to mean anything. When I send my, like what Angela was saying, when I send my invites, I'm sending them with this passion. I'm not sending them because I want a paycheck. I'm sending them because I want to see women rise up in their health and fitness, because that's the girl that I want to be. Do you see what I'm saying? It drives everything, the entire business. So that is my one word of advice, is to create your vision today. If you don't have that Google Doc or that new coach training yet, let me know. We can send it like immediately right after this call, and then you can print it off or whatever. Okay, now I want to open it up to questions if you guys have any, and they can literally be about anything. It doesn't have to be anything that we covered in this call. But if you have questions that are just burning, let us know and we will answer them.
I guess I do have one. How do you search people on Instagram to like kind of start the conversation? Because I tried it, but everything I pulled up when I did like things I like, a lot of them were already like bloggers, or they were already doing different health stuff. And so it's kind of hard to find people that I felt like I could actually connect to.
Okay, I'll answer this, but then any other coach that has more insight, I would love for you to jump into. So I cannot go to like Joanna Gaines. I cannot go to her page and find people there. It's too big. Her audience is too broad. And when you get people that are so high up in you know, I don't know, I guess you could say it's a hierarchy of just like what they're good at. You start getting other people who go there to get followers, just like we are, but they're like almost bots. And so you can't even find real people on half of those, because they're trying to just get followers from there too. My advice to you is to go to someone very local. So like a good example is if you go to church, go to your pastor's wife Instagram. And if you get along with her, obviously, like you don't want to go to someone, but just someone that you really love, who's kind of a leader figure in your community, go to her Instagram and just see who you can connect with. Because what's cool about that is that's local people too, and they trust you more right off the bat anyway. Or another example that I can give is like a book author that you really love, because they're not really saturated. Their Instagram accounts aren't very saturated with like bots and stuff like that. I hate that bots are a thing. Like, what is that? But you can go to, you know, Jenny Allen's Instagram, because she just released a book, and kind of see who's commenting on that, because then you know that those are your people if you also enjoy her books. So I just really recommend going to a smallish account. And when I say smallish, I mean like 75K or lower. And then that's where you can start finding real people. And so like an example of how do you start conversations with that. So if you're at Jenny Allen's and you're looking at her book and someone's commenting and you've read the book, obviously you have to find something that you have in common. It can't just be made up. Go to one of those followers and go, hey, I saw that you commented on Jenny Allen's post. I read the book too. I loved this page. What was your favorite part? I mean, literally however you want to do. An easy one for me right now is because we're working on baby step number 2 for Dave Ramsey is I go to Rachel Cruz's post. And now you have to make sure, because like I saw Alexis just nod, I saw Tara, so you better believe they're probably doing the same thing. So I go way, 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 way down to make sure we're not all, you know, inviting the same people. But like I'll scroll way, way down and try to find women that look normal, because you can tell normal people by their Instagram pictures, and I'll request their friendship. And then if they, if I get the notification later that they have allowed me to follow them or whatever, then I ask them, I'm like, hey, I saw your post on, or I saw that you liked Rachel Cruz's last post. Are you working on the baby steps too? And those people, like if you're on the baby steps, you want to talk about it. You know what I mean? So you just find people that are like you and that, you know, they're like begging someone to ask them about what they're doing too, then do that. And that's the way that I do it. Do y'all have anything to add on that?
I will say one thing that has helped me a lot is your friends of friends. So if you have somebody that reaches out to you, it's like I had somebody this week that reached out to me. I have no idea who she is. I had commented on one of my other friends' posts about her giving her husband a haircut, like nothing. And she reached out to me. So then I went to her and then like creeped her friends. So I don't really know her, but I creeped her friends. Then another thing that really helps, and this is more Facebook than Instagram, is I'm a part of, I had a baby in February, and so I'm a part of a group that's called February 2020 Babies, and it's everybody that has had a baby and is asking the same questions. And so like I asked a question the other day, because none of my children sleep ever. So I asked a question about swaddling the other day. And so people that are active in those groups, they're going through the same thing in life as you. It doesn't have to be like babies. I'm also in one, like in a podcast that I like. So kind of like the Dave Ramsey example. But people that relate to you, you see them active in those groups. They're obviously active on social media. And then just have a good storefront. So when they do look at you, they kind of know what you're about and can relate to you there as well.
I also, this is the third, I think, instead of big accounts and not just even friends of friends, you could do a deep dive into your past and go all the way back to elementary school friends, high school friends, college friends, whatever it is in your past, because those are people you've met. And even if they're not joining you, it's still very natural to start a conversation and like rekindle a friendship. And that's worth its weight in gold. But then eventually they do start watching you. And a lot of times people want to join you and do what you do. But just do a deep dive into your past if you're uncomfortable following the big accounts.
Something that has been really helpful to me since I started really diving into this business over the last little quarantine business time. But so like I don't recommend hashtags most of the time, like diving into hashtags, but like my occupational hashtag is RDH, I'm a dental hygienist, or dental hygienist. And that's like the only one I use. So like Mary, you're about to be an occupational therapist. You could just look at occupational therapists because people that are hashtagging that are probably like referencing their work or whatever. So, and it's easy to connect because you already have that really, really solid like column of your life in common. And then, you know, going through and engaging with their posts, and then after either they allow you to follow them or they follow you back, it's just been so easy to be like, hey girl, what a weird time to be a dental hygienist. How are you holding up? Or like, what is your office function like? So I don't really think hashtags are like the best place to find those people, but maybe if there's like one solid thing in your life, like your occupation, that would be a good one to find people.
And on top of that, I think the biggest thing that helped me, sorry, Ryan's downstairs working on our basement, so you might hear some background noise, but I think one of the big things that helped me is that I truly have to force myself to not try to force the conversation. Like, it's so easy for me to just like find this person and then be like, oh my gosh, what do I say? Well, if I don't have anything to say, I'm just not going to say it. But if I connect with somebody, like for example, I connected with somebody a couple months ago over a post about pizza, and she literally has an account dedicated to finding her favorite pizza joints. I love pizza. So we've talked many times about pizza. Maybe eventually we'll get into the health stuff. But I mean, we're having genuine conversation, you know, and I have to just force myself to not try to force conversation, because if it's not natural, I shouldn't be having the conversation anyway.
Absolutely. And that's one thing where I think a lot of newer coaches think that we are out there forcing things, and we're not. If we are, it's not working, because you can't really force that. Hang on, I just heard a squall. Someone else take it. Any more questions?
Well, if you guys don't have any more questions, just something that you need to keep in mind is that you don't have to perfect all of the things in one day or in 1 week. This is definitely a process. You learn what works best for you. You know, some of us, we have full-time jobs that we're still working. So we try to fit our activity trackers in the gaps in our day. And there are some days where I am not even near my activity tracker because mom life and teacher life and wife life have just taken over, and I just didn't have time. So don't feel like you need to be doing all of the things perfectly every single day to be successful. Now, you do need to be consistent. That's not an excuse to just drop your activities tracker and walk away. You do need to be consistent. You still need to be doing your workouts and sharing those kinds of things. But it definitely, we are not expecting you to be perfect and do it all perfectly right away. Just start with like 2 or 3 things and master those 2 or 3 things, master your process for those, and then gradually just add on as you go. Like I said, when I was talking earlier, this is not a get rich quick thing. You need to be in it for the long haul, which means you need to be taking things slowly, like the tortoise and the hare. The hare wins or the tortoise wins every time.
Here, I'll chime in really quick and say that a big thing for me that I've learned and as I've watched is I can't compare myself to other coaches in the business. I sit and I look at Lauren and how many people are following her on Instagram and all these amazing posts that she does and everything in her stories. And at the beginning I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to be like her within a week or I'm not going to be successful. And that's not how it works. You have to take things kind of slow, do them at your own pace, figure out what works for you. And in doing that, that's more genuine anyways. I want to make genuine connections with people and not just flood my Instagram with anybody that I can possibly find in the world that would follow me. I need to find my people and take the time to learn and do things. Do things like in a good, genuine way. So I just had to learn, I can't compare myself to all the other coaches in the business. Everybody's at different points. Everybody's been doing this for many years. Some people have only been doing it for a few months, and we're just kind of all at our own journey. So that's a big thing I've had to remind myself often. And there's sweet little Maddox joining.
Yeah. So what's funny about this business is that you all are joining after me. That's just how it works. You know what I'm saying? Like you're all within my team or within our team. So you're coming in after people, and you didn't, like I said, I've been doing this for 4 years. You didn't see the 1.5 years where I was banging my head against the wall because in case you guys don't know my story, I joined and then all my coaches ahead of me quit. So I had no team. Until I created one. And so you didn't see a year of me banging my head against the wall with nothing to post, with horrible pictures, with bad lighting. And so when Bree says that, like, you've only seen the grown Lauren, the Lauren that decided to become a leader, the Lauren that decided to have a vision, the Lauren that decided to become the same person she would want to follow. So that's why we give you all this advice to help you grow. Because someday you're going to have someone looking at you thinking that you've arrived when really they just didn't see the idiot version of you, which I'm still an idiot, don't get me wrong, but the more idiot version of you. Any other questions? Sorry, my kids are yelling like crazy kids. All right, I'll take a picture really quick and then we can end the call. And I did record this, thank goodness to Alexis to remind me, and I will post that later, okay? All right.
Is this a picture or a boomerang?
Just a picture. Do you want to do boomerang too? We can.
I don't care. I was just curious.
Okay, yeah,
I
just
needed to prepare.
Why don't we do both?
okay, we'll do both. All right, first the picture. Hold on, let me get my lighting right because. Well, what in the world? There we go. All right, ready? 3. I'm not in it because I've moved my thing. Okay, 3, 2, 1. And then a boomerang. No, that's
Oh gosh.
what? All right. And 3, 2, 1. Just a, oh, no, let's redo that. Redo it. Okay, ready? 3, oh. 3, 2, 1. Cute. Okay. Alexis, you're such a boomerang queen. Okay. Bye, you guys.